Hello. Everyone, welcome back to my channel. Let me ask you something that might hit you harder than you expect. Have you ever felt the woman you love slowly slipping away from you, and you can't even explain why? It's not like she woke up one day and said, "I don't care anymore." No, it's more subtle, more painful. One day, she looks at you differently. The warmth in her eyes is weaker. The way she texts feels shorter. She laughs less at your jokes. You can't pinpoint the moment, but you feel it in your gut. That sinking feeling that she's pulling away. And the worst part is, you don't know how to stop it. Men think women just lose interest overnight. But the truth is, it happens in layers, in small, silent withdrawals that you almost ignore until it's too late. At first, you convince yourself she's just busy. Then you tell yourself she's stressed. But deep inside, you know, something is shifting. And here's the harsh reality no one tells you. When a woman starts losing interest, she rarely announces it. She doesn't argue about it. She doesn't give you a warning label. She simply begins the quiet process of detaching. And by the time you notice, she's already halfway gone. I need you to hear this. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you sense it happening right now. Maybe you're noticing her energy change. Maybe you feel the distance growing between you. And maybe part of you is panicking. Don't. Because once you understand the signs, once you see them for what they are, you gain back power. You stop being blind, and you start being the man who can turn the tide. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about chasing or begging. It's about awareness, because a woman doesn't lose interest randomly. It's always for a reason, sometimes small, sometimes huge, but always there. And when you learn to recognize the 7 signs I'm about to share with you, you'll never again sit in the dark wondering why she's slipping away. You'll know. You'll see it clearly. And most importantly, you'll know exactly how to respond in a way that makes her second guess walking away from you. Let's start with the first sign, and pay close attention because missing this one could cost you more than you think. The first sign she's losing interest is the way she communicates with you changes. You know how she used to text you back immediately, sending you little emojis, teasing you, keeping the spark alive. Now her replies are short, slow. Sometimes she doesn't even reply at all. And when she does, it feels mechanical, like she's checking a box rather than connecting with you. Men often dismiss this as she's busy or she's tired. But that's not the real reason. Emotional investment shows itself in effort. If she's cutting corners on effort, it's because her feelings are shifting. The second sign is subtle but deadly. Her availability shrinks. Once she was excited to see you, to plan dates, to share moments. Now she cancels, she postpones, she forgets to respond to your invitations. Watch carefully. Interest manifests in time. If she's no longer willing to make space for you in her life, that's a red flag waving in slow motion. And here's the kicker. Men often try to convince themselves it's situational, that it will pass. But this is emotional math, not hope. Every moment she chooses something else over you chips away at her attachment. The third sign is the decline of physical intimacy. It's not just sex, it's touch, it's closeness. It's the subtle ways a woman shows she cares physically. Does she pull away when you reach for her hand? Does she avoid cuddling? These small rejections are louder than words. When a woman loses interest, even the physical connection frays first. And many men make the mistake of demanding intimacy or pressuring her, which pushes her even further away. The right move here is not desperation, it's awareness. Then there's the emotional distance. She stops sharing her thoughts, her day, her dreams, even her complaints. Conversation becomes transactional, shallow, or disappears entirely. Emotional intimacy is the heartbeat of attraction. When it fades, it's a sign her heart is retreating. Men often misread this as moodiness or stress, but a wise man sees the pattern, not just the moment. Understanding these first 4 signs is crucial. They don't exist in isolation. They're pieces of a puzzle that forms the picture of detachment. And if you ignore them, she will drift away silently. The truth is painful, but here's the empowering part. The moment you recognize these patterns, you gain leverage. You stop being a victim of her distance. You start being a man who can respond strategically, who can reignite the spark, or, if necessary, protect his own dignity and walk away. Now let's talk about a sign that hits deeper than words. Her excitement about your life disappears. Think about how she used to ask about your day, your ambitions, your projects. She celebrated your wins. She laughed at your victories. She felt like a teammate in your life. When she starts losing interest, her curiosity fades. She doesn't ask, she doesn't notice, she barely reacts. And here's the truth most men don't want to face. When a woman stops caring about your inner world, it's not laziness, it's emotional detachment. Your successes, your struggles, your growth, they no longer matter to her. The next sign is she stops including you in her plans for the future. It's subtle. She doesn't outright say, "I don't want you in my future," but her actions speak louder than words. She avoids talking about trips, holidays, or milestones. She doesn't ask your opinion or invite you into her decisions. A woman who is truly invested naturally integrates you into her vision. When that disappears, it's because she's slowly erasing you from her mental map. And men often miss this, blaming circumstances or life being busy. But busy is never this consistent. Detachment is. Another powerful indicator is her tone changes. It's not always aggressive, not always cold. It's the subtle shift. She becomes sarcastic, dismissive, or indifferent. Sometimes it's a tiny edge in her voice. Sometimes it's complete apathy. Emotional cues are louder than anything she says. When a woman is losing interest, her tone communicates her distance long before her words do. And if you fail to hear it, you lose the opportunity to respond effectively. Then there's the friend zone trap. She starts treating you more like a buddy than a lover. She jokes about you in ways she never did. She shares her problems without intimacy. She leans on you without any romantic energy. Many men panic here, trying to win her back with gifts, attention, or arguments. But desperation doesn't reverse emotional withdrawal. It accelerates it. The key is understanding the shift, not fighting it blindly. Awareness is your power. These signs together form a pattern you cannot ignore. It's not about one isolated behavior. It's about accumulation, about the emotional trajectory. If you see 2 or 3 of these signs, it's a wake-up call. If you see 4 or more, it's urgent. You are at a crossroads. And the next part, the strategies I'm about to share, will determine whether you reignite her interest, create healthy boundaries, or walk away with dignity intact. Now, we get to a sign that most men completely overlook because it doesn't scream problem. But it's one of the most telling indicators. She stops making an effort to look good for you. Think about it. When a woman is invested, she subtly shows it in her appearance. She wants to catch your eye. She wants to feel attractive for you. She wants to maintain that connection. But when her interest fades, the little things start disappearing. Hair pulled back, casual or sloppy outfits, minimal effort. These aren't coincidences. They're unconscious signals. She's emotionally checking out, and her exterior reflects that inner detachment. The next sign is her excuses multiply. Notice how everything becomes complicated or not a good time. She cancels plans at the last minute. She claims she's tired. She claims she's busy. But there's a pattern. Excuses are not just situational. They're emotional indicators. A woman who's losing interest will consistently prioritize other things over you. And here's the harsh truth. She's not deliberately trying to hurt you. Her feelings are simply moving elsewhere, and her actions follow her emotions. You need to see this clearly without sugarcoating it. Then there's the absence of jealousy or care. Earlier, she might have reacted if you were flirting with someone else, or if you spent too much time with friends. Now, she seems completely indifferent. Not the healthy, trust kind of indifferent, but detached indifference. She no longer invests emotional energy into your behavior, your attention, or your interactions. That lack of emotional reaction is a glaring signal. Men often mistake this for freedom or confidence, but it's really a reflection of diminishing interest. Another critical sign is she no longer seeks your advice or values your opinion. When a woman is emotionally invested, she wants your guidance, your perspective, your voice in her life. But if she's withdrawing, she stops asking, she stops sharing, and she stops including you in her decisions. Your thoughts, your insights, your presence in her mind, all slowly fade. This is the emotional equivalent of erasure, and most men never notice until the relationship is already frayed. Recognizing these signs isn't about overanalyzing or becoming paranoid. It's about clarity. It's about understanding the emotional reality before it hits you like a wave you can't escape. Awareness allows you to act intelligently, rather than react desperately. And the more clearly you see these behaviors, the more power you reclaim over the situation. Because once you understand the signals, you're no longer at the mercy of emotional ambiguity. You can make decisions with precision, strategy, and respect for both yourself and her. Here's a sign that cuts deeper than most men realize. Her laughter and joy around you fades. Think back to the time she used to giggle at your jokes, playfully tease you, or smile just because you were near. That energy, light, warm, magnetic, starts to fade when she's losing interest. Her smiles feel forced, her laughter quieter, or sometimes non-existent. You might convince yourself she's stressed or tired, but emotion doesn't lie. When the spark of joy disappears, it's not about circumstances, it's about her emotional investment waning. Another critical signal is she stops initiating contact or closeness. In the beginning, she reached out, she called, she texted first. She found reasons to see you or simply hear your voice. But now, she waits for you to make all the moves. And when you do, it's met with lukewarm energy or minimal engagement. This shift is huge. Women naturally initiate when they're interested. When that instinct disappears, it's not just a behavioral change, it's emotional withdrawal. Then there's the subtle increase in irritability or criticism. She may pick fights over trivial things, point out flaws more often, or react negatively to things she once ignored. This isn't about her being mean, it's a reflection of emotional distance. When a woman loses attachment, her patience dwindles. Small annoyances become magnified, and negative energy seeps into interactions. Many men misread this as conflict to solve, but it's actually a symptom. The connection is fading, and her emotional tolerance is lower. Next, watch for her reduced effort in intimacy beyond the physical. Emotional and mental intimacy, the kind that builds connection, starts to deteriorate. She shares less, she invests less, she communicates superficially. Conversations that once ran deep are now shallow. This lack of emotional engagement often precedes complete withdrawal, and men often overlook this because they focus on physical closeness alone. Emotional intimacy is the engine of attraction. When it slows, the relationship is on autopilot to decline. Finally, there's the mysterious gut feeling you can't ignore. Deep down, something feels off. You sense her attention drifting, her presence fading. That feeling isn't paranoia. It's intuition picking up on patterns your mind hasn't fully processed yet. Men often suppress this, hoping it's nothing, but ignoring that gut instinct is dangerous. Awareness is your weapon. It tells you where the relationship is headed and whether your efforts can realistically reverse the drift. Recognizing these signs gives you a choice. Either act with clarity to reignite attraction and reconnect, or protect yourself and your dignity before the emotional distance becomes irreversible. This is where most men fail. They see the signs, but they don't act strategically. But now, you're learning to see clearly, to understand, and to respond with precision.